In this week's Torah portion, we learn about the holiest day of the year in the Jewish tradition. Shalom, friends. This is the Kiva Gersh with Israel in 5, where we give you everything Israel in 5 minutes. Please like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, want to keep the conversation going, please do so below in the comments. This week's Torah portion is called Acharei Mot, which means after the death. It's referring to the death of two of Aaron's sons, who we learned about in a previous Torah portion, had come into the Mishkan, into the Tabernacle, without permission, without being told to. They just came out of their own, as we call it in Hebrew, hit lahavut, excitement to come close to God, which was a beautiful thing, but they also didn't follow the very specific rules of the Tabernacle, when to come in, when not to come in, what to do, what not to do. They came in just to show that love and bring their own sacrifice, but in the end, it wasn't what God wanted, and they actually were killed. Their lives came to an end as a result. And this week's Torah portion is referring to that, Acharei Mot, after the death of the two sons of Aaron, who came in on one level, on one side in a very beautiful way, on another side in a way that just can't be, because there are specific ways and certain rules of being in and serving God in the tabernacle. And those rules needed to be very clear and clarified so that the nation would know what was right, what wasn't right, what to do, what not to do moving forward. And again, this week's Torah portion refers to that at the very, very beginning of the Torah reading. And then right away, it goes into telling us about the holiest day of the Jewish year, Yom Kippur. It says, basically, don't do like the two sons of Aaron did. Come into the tabernacle only in the right way and at the right time. And then goes to list all these different details. In general, we learn a lot of details about the tabernacle from the Torah, as we've talked about before, in terms of its construction, what it's made out of, what you do inside, what kind of sacrifices are brought, when and where. But this week's Torah portion focuses specifically on Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement in the Jewish tradition, and goes through all the details of that day and what the service of that day looked like in the tabernacle, and later on in Jewish history, in the temple that stood in Jerusalem. Now, it gives us a moment, it gives us an opportunity to talk about Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is known as the holiest day in the entire Jewish calendar. Right? It's also referred to as Shabbat Shabbaton. Many people often think correctly that Shabbat is the holiest day, and we get it every single week. Right, but Yom Kippur is on a bit higher of a level. And that's why it's called, with this double language, Shabbat Shabbaton. It's like the Shabbat of all Shabbats, right? Achat b'shana, as it says in the Torah, once a year we have this, and it was a moment and it was an opportunity for spiritual purification, both for the members of the children of Israel, the entire nation, but also for the tabernacle itself. It went through some kind of purification process. All those things that we did wrong, and all those thoughts that we shouldn't have had, and all those things we shouldn't have said, goes through a purification process. It's like as some rabbis over the generations have liked to say, it's like a car wash, basically. It's like a car wash for our soul. Yes, we're human beings. We're trying our best, and hopefully we do a lot of good in our lives, but we make mistakes and we mess up sometimes. We fall. And the Jewish tradition is always encouraging us, even when you fall, because you will fall, because you're a human being, get up, keep moving forward. Yes, think about what you did. Yes, repent, but keep moving forward. And these are things that we should be doing throughout our lives, right? Every day, every week, every month throughout the year. But on Yom Kippur, we have an entire day to focus on this, an entire day to be spiritually cleansed, because it is the holiest day of the year. And again, this week's Torah portion talks about the details of what it looked like in the tabernacle back then, right? What sacrifices were brought, what was the avodah, what was the worship, what was the service, many great and beautiful details. But also it instructs us, and this is something we can take into our personal lives, even without a tabernacle, even without a temple, is that we do have this one day a year of an incredible opportunity for both, as we just mentioned, spiritual purification, but also spiritual elevation. Yom Kippur is the holiest day of the year, as we said already. Right, and it's called that because there's something happening in that day that allows us to go deeper, that allows us to reach higher than maybe any other day of the year. And we can take that experience on Yom Kippur and bring it with us, and we're encouraged to, into the rest of our year. Right, just for those who might not know, Yom Kippur happens in the fall time, 10 days after Rosh Hashanah. It's the beginning of the Jewish year, usually around September time or so. And it's this really beautiful follow-up to Rosh Hashanah, and really beautiful way of beginning the new Jewish year that begins in Rosh Hashanah, with really incredible and beautiful introspection. And again, spiritual purification. We're really like, God's just like saying, I'm cleansing you. I want you to start off the new year right and clean, fresh slate. Yes, you did something in the past that maybe you haven't done. Maybe you've done many things in the past that you shouldn't have done, but we're moving forward, and you're going to be free from all of those things that you did, so that you can do incredible things moving forward. And that's a little bit about Yom Kippur from this week's Torah portion, right? The holiest day of the Jewish calendar year.